Hey guys, in this video we're going to be setting up our initial environment for Bootstrap development. Now for the first few sections we're going to be working with Bootstrap through the CDN, which means that we're basically just going to include it through a remote URL. But later on when we start our projects we're going to have a much more professional workflow using Sass, which is a CSS preprocessor. We're going to need a tool called Gulp to compile the Sass. So to do that we need to install something called Node.js, which comes with NPM or Node Package Manager, and that's used to install these things, including Bootstrap later on. So I figured we could get it out of the way and just install it now so we don't have to worry about it later. We're also going to be installing the Atom text editor. Now you can use whatever editor you want, Visual Studio Code, Sublime Text, Notepad, whatever you want. I will be using Atom throughout this course. It's a really nice editor. I'm also going to be using a couple plugins, and if you really want to follow along and do exactly what I'm doing, I would suggest using it, but otherwise it's fine to use whatever you'd like. And then I'm also going to be using git bash, which is a better command line for Windows. It is available for Linux and Mac as well, but the Mac and the Linux terminal should be just fine. You don't really need this. The Windows command prompt, I really don't like it, so I'm going to be using this. I don't like PowerShell either, so when I use Windows, I use git bash. And I should mention that this entire course is cross-platform. Doesn't matter if you're on Windows, Mac, or Linux. So let's go ahead and download Node.js first. We're going to go to nodejs.org and just grab the recommended version. Alright, so we'll just say open when done. Alright, and that's just going to open up a simple installer. We're just going to go through real quick. We're going to choose all the defaults. Let that install. And that's it. So Node is now installed. Let's click finish. Now we're going to go to the atom.io site and I'm going to click the download button. Okay, we'll say open when done. Now Atom doesn't have a traditional installer, it just has this splash page, so it is in fact installing, and when it's done it should open up the text editor. Alright, so once Atom is done downloading, it should open. You should see something like this. This is kind of a welcome page, asks you if you want to open a project, install a package, choose a theme, and so on. I'm just going to close all these tabs out. And then I just want to install a couple plugins that I'll be using. So if we go to File and then we'll go to, where is it, Settings, and we're going to go to Install. And in here we're going to search for a package called Emmet, E-M-M-E-T. Click on Packages. And this is it right here. So basically Emmet allows us to do really cool shortcuts to create elements, HTML elements like divs, along with classes and IDs, and it lets us do it really fast. So I would suggest it if you're doing a lot of HTML development. So let's go ahead and install that. Again, you don't need it, but I would suggest it. And if you're using something like Visual Studio Code or Sublime Text, Emmet is also available for those editors as well. Alright, so it's now installed. The next one I'm going to install, the next package, is called atom-live-server. Okay, we're going to search for that. And it's going to be this one here by the author of Jazz Chen. So we're going to install that. And what this does is it allows us to open up our HTML files on our server, on a dev server, on our local host. And it also has live reload, so I don't have to keep reloading the browser every time I save, which is going to be really helpful for you guys and much easier to watch, so I don't have to keep reloading. Alright, so that's another plugin I would definitely suggest for Atom. So now that we have those two installed, let's go ahead and close up Atom, and we're going to go and download git bash. So this is at git-scm.com. I'm going to grab the Windows version, which already started downloading. So I'll say open when done. Alright, we're just going to go through this installer real quick. Okay, now we want the defaults. There's one screen. This screen right here is the only one that I don't select the default. I'm going to choose the last version, which gives us some optional Unix tools on the Windows command prompt as well. So we'll just click Next, and then we can just go through the rest of these. Alright, so git bash is now installed. I'm going to uncheck view release notes, and then I'll click the launch git bash and click finish. and that's going to open it up for us. Now if you want to make this command prompt bigger, you can just hold in control and you can just move your mouse wheel up and down. And you can use commands now like ls to list out your contents. You could create directories with like mkdir, and you can use commands like that, which we're not going to get into too much. We're mostly going to be using this for npm and to install certain things from Node Package Manager. But that's about it. So if you're intimidated by the command line, don't be. We're not going to be using it that much. All right, so I'm going to close that out, and we should now have our environment set up. So in the next video, I'm going to go over the Bootstrap sandbox, which is kind of a custom UI that I've created, made up of a bunch of different HTML files for us to really jump in and see what Bootstrap 4 has to offer. Everything from utility classes to the grid system to flexblocks, JavaScript widgets, basically everything that Bootstrap offers. Okay, so we're going to be using that through the next few sections, and then later on we're going to get into building our projects out using npm, using gulp to compile Sass, and get into the more complicated stuff. Alright guys, so that's it. I will see you in the next video.